So here's the thing. It's like, it's not just getting the 620 credit score to get in the door to get pre-approved. The next thing, and the number one reason why people get denied for a mortgage, debt ratio. And that comes into play with what income we can document versus what debt is being counted into the mix, okay? If you're on a salary, it's pretty straight. You're a W-2 employee, right? And we can take your salary divided by 12 to get a monthly gross income. And we take 45% of that figure to determine what your total debt can be with the payments that are on your credit report. And then what's left over is what is allowed for a housing allowance, a housing payment for you. A lot of people get confused. I was working with somebody yesterday who is finally, his credit score is high enough to move forward on a home in Sacramento. And he was ready to make an offer. The agent said, I need a pre-approval letter now, spent all night putting it together. Credit scores were there. When it came down to it, the income, because of the way their student loans are and the payments that they have set up for them and the income that they have, not to mention on this particular $500,000 house he was looking at, the HOA was $300, the taxes were $600 a month. So that might be more normal, but he's getting confused by looking at all these rent payment calculators that are on realtor.com and things like that. So it's so important to understand that it's credit and then it's income, that you really have to figure out what you can afford, what you have the ability to repay, okay, that fits within the guidelines. And these things are so important. And so anyways, that goes all the way back to what I was saying with credit, the income, and then the assets. Okay, that's the last piece of it. The down payment, the closing costs. Even if you're getting down payment assistance or hoping to apply for a grant, it might not cover all of it. Okay, I know there's a lot of guys out there saying they can get you in there for $500, and some of them can. But just remember, we're in a little bit of a different market where sellers don't necessarily want to contribute towards your closing costs like in other markets that we've been in. And not to mention that you're coming up with sometimes cash for an appraisal gap. So you could have your credit, you could have your income, you could have your assets, and then you get out there with a realtor with your pre-approval letter, and you're out there looking at homes, and you realize the amount you qualify for and what that breaks down as a house payment, like nothing is suitable for you and your family, in which you have two choices: either make more money, okay, or reduce the debt so that you can afford more of a house payment, which will afford you more of a purchase price of a home. CIA, credit, income, assets, super important. If you're just starting out and it says, what's the first step to buying a home? Get your credit in line. Make sure you have money saved and that is seasoned. It's a documentable source for what you have for the down payment. If you just started a job and you're getting bonus and overtime and all these extras, that's not gonna work until you have a history of receiving that stuff. So they'll just go off your base. But when you determine what that income is that they're gonna be able to use, and you figure out what it is monthly, so divide by 12 or whatever the case, you're gonna have this figure that you're gonna multiply in your calculator times 45%. So practically cutting that amount in half. That's why people say all the time, but don't they take insurance out of that and my medical insurance I pay, and what if I owe child support? Like none of that. They're looking at your gross, like before anything's taken out, then they're gonna take 45% of that. When it all shakes out, it might be like $1,200. $1,200 is gonna be what your allowance is on that house you're gonna be looking to buy. So that's gotta include principal and interest, okay? Taxes, insurance, that can very much change house to house. HOA. So if you are looking at if you're looking at single family homes not in an HOA, okay, no HOA, and then you're like, forget it, I'm gonna start looking at condos. Okay, first of all, condos a different type of housing that has a bit of a price adjustment. You might have to see that if the condo is approved to even get the type of financing you're using, okay? Not to mention, if the condo says, like the guy yesterday said, this condo's great. And I looked and I said, that condo's got a $200 HOA. So what that does is, compared to the house that has no HOA, every $50 in HOA, okay, it's about $10,000 in purchase price and what he could buy. So, $200,000, you're talking $200 a month, that's $40,000 difference in purchase price he could buy for a home that doesn't have an HOA versus a house with an HOA. So it all starts with getting your credit going. When I talk, I'm talking national. I'm in Arizona. I'm a mortgage loan officer, Arizona and California. That's where I'm licensed to do your mortgage, okay? All across the country, I do credit consultations one-on-one. I don't do credit repair, you guys. I don't sell you anything extra. It's either that you sign up for a 30-minute one-on-one, and that's you and me on the phone talking about your credit, and you get this game plan of what you got to do to go execute or answer questions that you really need answered. Okay? Then there's a couples consultation that's $159. That's an hour. That's two people. I review their credit, we talk about it, put a game plan together, okay? The next package is for $297. And that's when you are a little bit more committed. It's three different coaching sessions, 30-minute coaching sessions. And we go over the credit piece of it, right? Everything you need to do, and then you did it, and kind of what's left over, what's the next step. And then the third one is all about how do you buy a house? And so that process will take you all the way through to closing. But really, that's the kind of packages that I'm offering. I just started doing that when I got on TikTok. I used to give it away for free, but I found you gotta have people step up and invest in themselves.